where the Knicks drew a tough first-round matchup with the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks had the best record in the East after the All-Star break, going 20-6, while the Knicks won 2 of their 3 regular season games against the Hawks. So, Stephen A., what happens to the Knicks if they end up getting bounced in the first round?
Mike Brown is gone as the head coach. Karl Anthony Towns, likely Mikal Bridges, and who knows who the hell else is gone as New York Knickerbockers. That's the bottom line. You understand? It's just that simple. If you lose in the first round to the Atlanta Hawks, I think heads are going to roll because remember, you got rid of Tom Thibodeau. Now, that might be more James Dolan than Leon Rose, even though Leon Rose is the guy who officially pulled the trigger. But I think that ultimately Mike Brown will be scapegoated. I don't want Mike Brown fired. I'm not saying he deserves to be fired. I think he's a good coach. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm telling you right now, the city of New York will be in an absolute uproar. And to lose Tom Thibodeau and to change the coach and ultimately the culture and to go not only from a trip to the conference finals, but expectations of the finals to losing to the first round, not against Boston, not against Detroit, not against Cleveland. It would be to the Atlanta Hawks. That is unacceptable. There is no way that is going to fly. And as a result, heads would roll. I don't think there's any question about it. And I think the coach would suffer the consequences unless Dolan wanted to be cheap all of a sudden and keep his money in his pocket and not pay a coach for not coaching. And I think that several players would be booted out of the city. They would be gone.
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think it'll be the end of the world if they lose in the first round. Maybe to you, Stephen A. But again, I told you the biggest winners at the trade deadline was the New York Knicks. You know why? Because Giannis Antetokounmpo wasn't traded. Because Giannis Antetokounmpo wants to be in New York. Now, would it be a disappointment? Hell yeah. Would guys get shipped out of there? Yes. But you would absolutely land Giannis Antetokounmpo because he wants to be in New York. Now, I can't even think or fathom that the Knicks are going to lose this first round series to the Hawks. Even though I got a lot of respect for Jalen Brunson, Nickeil Alexander-Walker has been balling. I got a lot of respect for C.J. McCollum. We know he could go off at any given time. Quinn Snyder is a hell of a coach. He's up for Coach of the Year as far as being in that conversation. That whole Hawks franchise has completely turned around since trading Trae Young. But I don't think it would just be at the end of the world. And by the matter of fact, S.A., that might be one of the most asinine things I've heard you say in the last month and a half.
What exactly? What exactly? What is that? Let's stop the presses because I usually don't say things that are asinine anyway. But since you're saying that I did, what are you saying is asinine?
Well, one, you can't fire Mike Brown. Like, you can't fire Mike Brown. That would be the last thing that would happen. Like, the players would be gone. Some of the guys on the roster, one of the guys that you keep complaining about, rightfully so, in Mikal Bridges. Maybe you package him up with Karl Anthony Towns. Like, Karl Anthony Towns is one of the players that's under the most pressure in this postseason. But as far as firing Mike Brown, that's not going to happen. That would look absolutely horrible on the Knicks.
I'm not saying they should. I'm saying I wouldn't put it past James Dolan. And in terms of looking horrible, before Leon Rose arrived, he made a ritual of looking horrible in a multitude of ways. Clearly, you don't spend enough time in New York because if you did, you'd know that horrible and James Dolan were hand in hand for decades. It's what he usually did. It was like his default position. What are you talking about? It changed when Leon Rose and World Wide West arrived, and credit to him for bringing them on board. But prior to that, it is not a surprise at all for anybody to think that James Dolan could look horrible. He made a habit of it, a ritual. The truth.
You so does.
Okay, let's turn to tonight's action. NBA play-in tournament going to tip off. We've got the Hornets hosting the Heat, the Trailblazers facing the Suns in Phoenix. Perk, who's the most important player in the game between the Heat and the Hornets?
Oh, it's Bam out of the bio, hands down. And I got the Hornets winning that game, but it's time for Bam to show the world that he's a franchise guy. It's time for him to show the Miami Heat that he's a guy that's could lead this franchise in the postseason and back to the promised land. And on a stage like this is a stage where we want to see him at his best. I need him to be offensively aggressive. I need Bam Adebayo to come out firing 25 to 30 shot attempts, putting his team on his back, showing that he could be a legit first option on the offensive end. This is a stage that is set for him to walk into Buzz City and do his damn thing.
I don't disagree with you about Bam Adebayo because I got a lot of love and respect for him. The brother can play and whatever. But I don't think he's a franchise player. I think he's a glue piece. I think he's somebody that's more than a glue piece, actually. He can really play, and he's an all-star caliber player. I think that's what's been missing from Miami, that superstar, that number one option. That's what you have been looking for. As far as I'm concerned, they haven't had it since LeBron James and D. Wade departed. Even when you had Jimmy Butler there, we know that he was a reluctant superstar. Jimmy Butler doesn't mind being Robin. He wants to be Batman when it comes crunch time and stuff like that. But carrying the load over 82 games, carrying the load throughout the playoffs, that's not his thing. He wants to be deferential and the number one option to defer to. And that was never going to be Bam Adebayo, and it's never going to be Bam Adebayo. That's not his game. 81 points notwithstanding, 83 points rather. That's not what he does. It's just not him on a night in, night out basis. Okay? I would say the answer to this question is LaMelo Ball. I think this could potentially be his coming out party. The brother can play. We've been raving about Con Knipple, as we should. 42.5% from three-point range, 273 three-pointers made this season. LaMelo Ball made 272 three-pointers this year. It was at a 37% clip, but the brother made 272 three-pointers.
Second in the league.
Charlotte is number one in the league in three-pointers made a game with over 16. They're third in the league at 38% clip. These brothers can fire it away from long range. It's what they do. And Melo stirs the cup. This is the brother that's your ball handler. This is the brother that's your passer. And oh, by the way, he's a threat. And remember, he's a ball. And so you had LeVar Ball and Lonzo Ball and everybody making all of this noise when, in fact, it was LaMelo Ball who was going to be the cat that was going to really, really make the noise. Because this brother has put everybody on notice that he is a blossoming player in the National Basketball Association, and he hasn't been in a position to have a coming out party where he steps on a court and he has an opportunity to participate in postseason action. Well, it arrives now. I think LaMelo Ball steps on stage tonight in Charlotte. I think he puts on a show. We can never underestimate the greatness of Eric Spoelstra and how hard he has those cats playing and how they go on the road. It's like the 7th consecutive year they in playing competition. I'm getting tired of seeing their asses in the playing, by the way. I'm really getting sick and tired of it. Damn it, make the players. I'm getting tired of it. But the bottom line is that you can never underestimate them. But I think Charlotte, the Bible Belt, is going to be hyped tonight. I think the team is going to be ready, and I think LaMelo Ball with Knipple, with Brad Miller, with Miller, with Bridges. I think Brandon Miller. I'm sorry. I think those brothers are going to put on a show. I'm not saying the game's going to be a blowout. It'll probably be close, but I think LaMelo is putting on his coming out party tonight.
Yeah, it'd be the first time the Hornets get into the playoffs since the 2015-16 season. A lot at stake. We'll see if they're able to do that. Straight ahead, how much pressure is on James